If for some reason you ever find yourself foraging in the woods, it's important to know what is and is not edible. Some plants may be enticing, covered in colorful blooms or vibrant berries, but don't be fooled because some of these plants are incredibly poisonous and very common in some areas around the world. So I think it's important to know what to look for to keep yourself and any human or furry companions healthy. From the strychnine tree to a plant more dangerous than ricin of all things, here are 7 terribly deadly plants, and for more infotainment content just like this, please hit the like and subscribe button as it really helps the channel, and I'd like to know if you've come across any of these plants before, and do you know what to do to avoid getting sick if you ever accidentally ingest one? Let us know in the comments down below, and as always, I super appreciate every last one of you. Number 7, belladonna. With a name that quite literally means beautiful lady in Italian, it almost draws a person in. It's a plant made up of bell-shaped flower petals that range from rosy pinks to deep purples. It drips with green berries that turn a shiny black color as they ripen. Those berries might even look palatable and are even described as being sweet if ingested, with some birds eating the berries and spreading the seeds through their droppings. But these plants are anything but palatable to the average animal or human. The entire plant is extremely toxic, full of tropane alkaloids, which include atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine. These toxins disrupt the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system that regulates the body's involuntary processes like breathing, controlling the heart rate, etc. Consuming any part of the plant, but especially the roots and berries, can cause a multitude of health conditions, hallucinations, light sensitivity, loss of balance, tachycardia, constipation, confusion, staggering, issues with balance, rash, headache, sweating, convulsions, delirium, and finally death. Belladonna is found in multiple places in Europe, Asia, North Africa, and Iran. So if you see this around, don't let anyone even touch it, because just touching this plant can cause skin irritation. A close cousin of this flower is called deadly nightshade, which in my opinion is a more caution-inducing name. Fun fact, this plant was used by early humans to anoint their arrows before a hunt. Number 6, water hemlock. You may have noticed this plant shooting up from the ground with these small tufts of green or white umbrella-shaped petals. This plant is called water hemlock, and it is incredibly deadly. To make things worse, they kind of look like wild parsnips and could easily be confused. But if you're stranded in the woods because you decided to forge your own path, you little rebel you, instead of staying on the trail, don't eat this. But you can eat this. The most toxic part of the plant is the root, but the flower tops are also poisonous. The leaves and stems do contain some toxins, but the toxicity degrades as the flower grows. Cicutoxin is the poison that makes the water hemlock so dangerous. Cicutoxin acts directly on the central nervous system and is a violent convulsant. Another plant with a multitude of side effects, it can cause muscle twitching, rapid pulse, rapid breathing, tremors, excessive salivation and frothing, coma, violent convulsions, and eventually death. Number 5, angel's trumpets. This next one has such a misleading name if you think about it. Angel trumpets, which sounds really pleasant, but then when you think about it, it's probably what a soul hears upon its ascent out of this existence after ingesting this plant. The angel's trumpet is a shrub with flowers that have a bulbous bell shape that comes in white, cream, yellow, red, pink, greenish, and some are white with pink tips. They are in the nightshade family like belladonna and have all the same toxins, atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine. It causes all the same adverse effects, hallucination, light sensitivity, loss of balance, tachycardia, convulsions, etc. The entire plant is also toxic, but its seeds and leaves are especially toxic, and these plants are primarily found in South America. Number 4, the strychnine tree. This probably isn't the first time you're hearing the word strychnine. It's a poison that is sometimes used as a tool in pest control, and back a long time ago before forensics testing, people would use this plant or this chemical to poison people or, as a means of murder. Well, the Strychnos nux vomica is a tree most commonly found in southern Asia and Australia. Ah yes, Australia. The continent where everything wants to kill you. you, and we'll be coming back to Australia in my next video. But I digress. The strychnine tree is a medium-sized tree. It has a thick trunk, white bark, and oval leaves. The tree grows pale green flowers shaped like funnels and bears a fruit that turns orange. When it is open, it's filled with a jelly-like substance. Its flowers reportedly smell terrible, and I'm guessing that's to keep creatures away. Strychnine isn't the only poison that's found flowing through the entire plant. It also includes brucine and lignine. Strychnine causes the chemical that controls nerve signals not to function properly. The chemical works as an off switch, and when it is not working properly, it causes the muscles to go haywire and prompts painful spasms. Some of the side effects of strychnine poisoning are feelings of fear, agitation, apprehension, restlessness, as well as fever, kidney or liver failure, muscle pain and soreness, jaw tightening, difficulty breathing, uncontrollable arching of the back and neck, respiratory failure, brain death, and the list goes on. Number 3. Daphne. Daphne is an evergreen shrub that blooms in spring. When it is blooming, the flowers can range from yellowish green to pink and purple. The plant also produces red berries that transition into a glossy blackish blue color. All parts of the plant are toxic, and simply touching it can result in skin irritation and blisters. Daphne toxin and mesarine are the two chemicals that make the plant poisonous. Consuming any part of the bark, flower, or berries can result in headaches, inflammation of the kidneys, irregular heart rhythm, seizures, convulsions, coma, and death. Much like the popular grow in most high school, these flowers are gorgeous and incredibly toxic. Daphne flowers are native to Central and Southern Europe and Asia, so from Britain to Japan. Some species of Daphne flower are also found in North Africa. Number 2, oleander. You might recognize this particular plant name, especially if you've ever read the book or watched the movie White Oleander. The story follows the protagonist who discusses growing up without her mother, who was her sole guardian, after she gets locked up for poisoning her ex-lover with white oleander. It's an excellent read, but I don't remember if the movie was any good or not. Anyways, oleander is primarily found in hot coastal areas like California and Florida in the US, and it is native to Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. The plant's leaves are a dark green color, and its funnel-shaped flowers grow in clusters and range from vibrant hues like pink, yellows, and reds to stark white in color. The entire plant is toxic and contains a chemical called oleandrin, digitoxygenin, neurin, and oleandrosid. Ingesting the leaves, flowers, stems, or twigs can result in the following side effects: weakness, irregular to slow heartbeat, visual disturbances, nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, confusion, dizziness, lethargy, headaches, hives, rashes, death, and this is by no means a complete list of symptoms. This plant is toxic to all animals, so it's important to keep your kids, pets, and yourself from somehow ingesting parts of the plant. Honestly, just keep this plant away from everyone. It's a pretty lawn ornament, but it's not something you want to go picking. Number 1, castor plant. While many people use castor oil as a laxative or to help with hair growth or even to alleviate skin conditions because of its antimicrobial and antiviral components, the plant this oil comes from is highly toxic. The seeds have the highest concentration of ricinoleic acid, which is a potent toxin. Ricin inhibits ribosomal protein synthesis, which is just a fancy way of saying that it keeps cells from being able to generate new proteins, which can cause cell death and eventually regular death. As a matter of fact, a micro-engineered tablet that may have contained ricin was slipped under the skin of a Bulgarian dissident writer, Georgy Markov, which ended up claiming the man's life a few days later. The symptoms of ricin poisoning are weakness, severe vomiting, hemorrhagic diarrhea, severe shock-like symptoms, muscle tremors, death, and again, the list goes on. I don't know about y'all, but hemorrhagic diarrhea sounds like I would just rather die. Anyway, so in conclusion, my rule of thumb, don't let your pets or your kids eat just any plant you find out there in the world. I would say not even grass, because honestly the chemicals people use on their lawns nowadays to help the grass grow is also pretty toxic. If for some reason someone accidentally ingests any parts of these plants, please contact poison control or go to the nearest clinic or hospital for assistance. Do not try to induce vomiting unless told to by a medical professional or poison control expert. Sometimes regurgitating a toxin can only make symptoms worse. We want to make sure we're taking the best course course of action to do as little harm in case of accidental poisonings. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all very soon for another video. Bye!